Hello, I'm Rob Thomas, editor-in-chief of Club and Resort Business, and welcome to another episode of the Club and Resort Talks podcast. Today, our guest is Jonathan Moulton. He's the superintendent at Martis Camp in Truckee, California. The Lake Tahoe area gets feet and feet and feet of snow, and he's going to tell us some of the ways they prepare the golf course from winter dormancy to a green spring ready to go. Fantastic, a lot of interesting stuff, and it was very enlightening conversation. Considering I started my career in the golf industry on the superintendent side, it was nice to get back and talk to a superintendent. But that is coming up after we get through our sponsor, which is Texacraft. Texacraft has been an outdoor commercial furniture leader since 1975. For more than 40 years, they've been a trusted and reliable source for country clubs and resorts. Texacraft is committed to not only providing a quality product, but a quality experience for all customers. They don't just take pride in what they do, they take pride in how they do it. Learn more at texacraft.com. Taking care of our sponsor. Thank you very much, Texacraft. Let me get to a little bit of news before we get to Jonathan Moulton. First, let's start off in Colorado. This Colorado club completed a multi-million dollar transformation. The Pinery Country Club in Parker, Colorado, created an open clubhouse flow that fosters a warm social club culture. The fireplace lounge flows into the bar, allowing members to gather spontaneously, while the outdoor patio has been renovated as an extension of the main dining room with seating for 100 guests. That's not all. There's a lot more going on. Check out clubandresortbusiness.com to read about all of the renovations that went into this spectacular clubhouse. Next up, let's go down to well, I guess we're going to talk about Delaware. We don't get a lot of news out of Delaware, so I love to talk about it. Indigo Sports, a trim company, will oversee golf operations, agronomy, food and beverage, and sales and marketing at the Salt Pond Golf Club, a daily fee course in Bethany Beach, Delaware. This golf course is I believe this is the one that's it's pars threes and fours. It's a community area right there, nestled amongst the ins and outs of the neighborhood. Troon, Indigo Sports, tops in the business, so they're going to do a fantastic job there with the Salt Pond Golf Club. Last but not least, before we get to Jonathan Moulton, I want to ask your opinion on the new Pebble Beach USGA partnership on their 2027 U.S. Open logo. The official logo for the 127th U.S. Open incorporates enduring symbols of Pebble Beach and the championship's legacy, such as the lone cypress, a defining symbol of Pebble Beach since its founding in 1919, and the seven stars commemorating the seventh U.S. Open contested at the Pebble Beach Golf Links. It's also red, white, blue, and silver, obviously signs of Americana of this epic championship. I love it. I love the logo. I can see wearing it on a hat, t-shirt, hoodie, whatever. It's going to be fantastic. From Nicholas's near perfect one iron to Tom Watson chipping in on the 17th green. Iconic moments. Tiger Woods winning by 12 strokes. I think Gary Woodland won his U.S. Open there at Pebble Beach. So epic moments happen at Pebble Beach, and I'd love to see it. I think Rory just won Pebble Beach this year. So maybe if he doesn't win the Masters of the PGA, maybe that will be his next major championship. Fingers crossed for Rory. All the news taken care of. Let's get to Jonathan Moulton from Martis Camp, and he can tell you all about how he prepares his golf course from 10 feet of snow to a green putting surface. Take care, stay well, and enjoy the show. Hello, and welcome back to the Club and Resort Talks podcast. I'm joined by Jonathan Moulton. He is the superintendent at Martis Camp in Truckee, California. Jonathan, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Rob. This is exciting to talk about.
Well, I love it. I love talking golf, and I began my career in the golf industry covering the superintendent side. So this is kind of full circle for me, going back and talking to the superintendent, the head grass grower, as opposed to the general manager or a chef or something along that line. But if you could, before we get into the meat and potatoes, give us a like a 10,000 foot view, no pun intended with the elevation out there, of Martis Camp.
Sure. Martis Camp is a 2,000-acre property located in Truckee, California, which is located about 3.5 hours east of San Francisco. We're about a half an hour west of Reno, Nevada, in North Lake Tahoe. We're located at about, the property ranges from about 6,200 feet to close to 7,000 feet. We have a Tom Fazio golf course, a putting course, several amenities, including our famous family barn where there's a bowling alley, uh, lots of fun stuff for the kids to do, 50s style soda fountain, dining area, and then we have a ski lodge, which is a great amenity for our members where they're able to access a chairlift that takes them right up and gets first tracks every day. And then we have our main lodge, which houses a few of our restaurants and the golf shop. So big property, very spread out. From my shop to the first tee is over 2 miles. So we spent a lot of time on efficiency and remembering to bring everything that we'll need for the day. And luckily, the assistants do a great job with that, with keeping the crew moving as far as that goes.
Well, we're here to talk about the transition from winter to spring and opening a golf course up. What are some, and things are pretty extreme out there. You're talking about feet and feet of snow that can go over your head as far as that kind of stuff, which is not what I'm used to here in Cleveland, Ohio. What are some of the biggest challenges of transitioning the course from winter dormancy to a playable condition?
Sure, sure. So we had a winter 2 years ago where we literally received over 40 feet of snow. And I grew up in the Northeast in Maine, and it snows there, but snowing here is a completely different ball game. We've gotten it's not uncommon to get 5 inches of snow in an hour, and it'll snow like that for 3 straight days. And when I say there's 10 feet of snow on the ground, there's literally, you dig down a hole and there's 10 feet of snow on the ground. In the big snow year, my dog was walking up onto our roof of our house. Um, so when we say snow, we mean snow. Um, and the big thing is lately, I'm not into getting into the politics of it, but climate change has definitely had an impact on Tahoe with our winters. They seem to be one way or the other with the pendulum. And this winter, for instance, we mostly rain. It was a cold, rainy winter where it snowed up top, but at 6,200 feet where we are, we didn't get much snow. Uh, we got a lot of cold weather. The ground froze. I've never seen the ground freeze like this. So some frost heaving, like they get back east. We don't normally really get that. So the big thing is the big challenge is it's different every year. It's either you got a ton of snow, you get some warm weather. It's just every year there's something new and a new challenge.
Yeah, that's that makes it fun, right?
Never boring,
No,
never
no, I
boring.
can't imagine. So how do you monitor and mitigate the potential ice damage? I mean, you're talking about the ground freezing. You got to protect those greens and fairways. How are you handling that?
Yeah, so from what it sounds like you did before, you know that us turf nerds, we're big nerds, and we have classifications for everything. And we actually classify ice, where milky white ice has air in it. So if you see a little bit of that, it's not the end of the world. But when you start getting worried is when it's a blue, clear, black ice, and that's a little bit more of a worrisome indicator of what's going on. And monitoring is as simple as, hey, I get paid to go snowmobiling. and I jump on the snowmobile, drive out, you dig some pits, take some pictures. I also will go back and look at pictures from years past, because sometimes you get in the mindset of, oh, I see ice on this day, we're doomed. But then you look at the pictures from years before, and it's like, well, we kind of had some ice form right, a couple years ago, and we were okay. And that's kind of the tricky part is there's always we say that doing nothing is an option. And for someone like me, that's really hard because I feel like I always have to be proactive and be going after stuff. But sometimes doing nothing is an option because if you clear too early, you can cause you can cause death from desiccation. You can cause death from crown rehydration if it gets a little warm. So it's kind of a balancing act of looking for the ice and then figuring out what to do with it from there. And also, we're doing a study with the University of Minnesota where they sent us this prototype device that we inserted into the greens that actually measures um, carbon dioxide levels, oxygen levels, and no one's really sure, even on the university end, what really ultimately causes the damage and how long it takes for the damage to occur. So we're trying to help them quantify it so it's a little less, a little more science. We like science. It helps us make the best decisions we can.
Such a great partnership between the university side and the actual in the field superintendents. I know that you guys have a lot of similarities. You had mentioned about doing nothing as an option, but when there's 10 feet of snow and the golf season is quickly approaching, that's not always an option. Sometimes you use the black sand, I guess, as to help along the snow melt process. How do you determine when and where to use that?
Well, geez, Rob, you're giving away all my secrets here, but Uh, we use a black sand. The problem with the black sand is it's pretty much produced in one spot in northern Idaho, and that's about 10 hours from here by truck. So I end up spending more on transporting the sand here than the actual cost of the sand itself. But we're lucky that down in Reno, there's a great company called Full Circle Compost, and they make us a special golf course blend that no weed seeds, no rocks. And we actually use the compost because it helps in the spring. It actually gives you some, helps green up the grass a little bit sooner. And it's a real dark, black, humic mixture. And in the sun, especially in the spring when our sun angles at 6,000 feet, the intensity, you throw out this mulch in a good sunny day with temperatures even in the 40s, you can get 6, 8 inch melt. But then you got to be careful with that melt because guess what happens in an alpine environment when it goes down to 20 degrees at night, even if you made that melt, you get ice. And then that ice is more difficult to melt. And as the days go by with the freeze and thaw, it gets more dense, less air. And so you got to be real careful. And this year in January, we had kind of a big January thaw. And I got out there and decided I wanted to try to melt some snow and ice to reset our clock. Our 90-day clock is what we call it. And I kind of made some ice in spots that I would have been better off doing nothing. And
Well, damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing there, huh?
oh, that's our saying. That's our saying. And, I had to get out. We'll take out our air fires and put on solid tines and go out and chip away at the ice. And you have to be really careful, obviously, because if you hit the frozen turf, you'll rip it out of the ground. So it's a long process to go out and mitigate some of this ice. And over the years, you figure out where it's at. And I'm really lucky to have a great crew. There's 4 guys that stay on with me in the winter, and they've been with us for over 10 years, so they know the drill better than anybody.
So it's really a juggling act or a balancing act, I suppose, when it comes to protecting the turf while accelerating the melt, right?
Yeah, yeah. You want to be, and once again, you go out and physically remove the snow. I'm lucky we have a great snowcat, a PB 100, and it's very easy to, even with multiple feet of snow, you're going along, and then all of a sudden you look and you ripped up half a fairway. So we call it Rocky Mountain verticutting. you got to be cognizant of that when you're out there. And even with a Honda snowblower, somebody that's not well trained or doesn't have a lot of experience can do a lot of damage. And you already have such a short window in the spring that any mechanical damage or any self-induced damage that we do ourselves, it's literally the definition of shooting yourself in the foot.
So I had an old boss who used to always say, let me see, prior something about prevents piss poor performance. Prior
Yeah, yeah.
preparation prevents piss poor
That's poor
performance.
performance.
So what are you guys doing in the fall to make it better in the spring?
See, that's a question you caught me on. I have changed my philosophy in the last couple of years, where the old timers in the mountains would try to induce dormancy in the plant. So in September, they'd stop watering, no fertilizer, just try to shut the plant down. And where that gets difficult, when I first moved to Tahoe 20 years ago, the winters were a little bit more predictable. You knew that if you were trick or treating with your kids in the snow, you knew that October 31st was the last day you're going to get anything done, and it was going to snow, and then you could go skiing for the next 4 months. And it's not like that anymore. You can have 60-degree temps even in November now. And so the theory on letting everything go dormant and it's almost like you're overthinking it. So the last few years, I've been actually pushing the turf all the way through, watching the weather and draining the irrigation system a lot later than we have in the past. And my theory is you go in as strong as possible, give the plant as much carbohydrates as possible, have it be as strong to weather whatever winter throws at it. If it's going to be the freeze thaw of this year, if it's going to be the 40 feet of snow a few years ago, and that way you just give it its best leg to make it through.
So you're a Mainer. My daughter graduated from Colby College up there in Maine, so I'm familiar with Maine. Not so familiar with Truckee, California. There's certain pests, disease, turf health concerns at the higher elevations that you're dealing with coming out of winter.
Uh, same deal as back east, and I actually grew up about 15 minutes from Colby, so know the area well.
Go
And
mules.
yeah, well, go Black Bears. UMaine plays tonight, actually against Penn State, and they just won Hockey East for the first time since actually I was in school. So go Bears.
All right, Frozen Four. Let's do it.
Yeah, yeah, great. The the big challenge here is compared to back east. Uh, we used to not have a lot of pathogens. We really didn't. And now we're starting to deal with a little bit more Pythium and getting out there and just watching for that. Not every year, but it sometimes comes up. Obviously snow mold, but here it's actually almost easier to deal with snow mold than back east.
So sustainability is a big buzzword in the industry. How are you balancing sustainability with the need for efficiency in the reopening process?
That's an awesome question. And I look at sustainability both in terms of obviously the environment and what is sustainable for our club and our members and making sure that we do right by them. As far as the environment, like I was saying before, spraying is always our last option here. We're really big into integrated pest management, IPM, scouting, we keep meticulous records of the past. And even though I said that it's been jumping all around with our changing climate, you can still kind of line it up. It's not quite apples to oranges. And also, like I said, we try to use the late in the season, we don't go out and do a secondary snow mole app. We kind of try to grow out of it, let the sun dry us down, remove snow where we can. Almost half of our property actually drains through a very intricate drainage system and it ends up in our irrigation pond, which is great. And it goes through a series of sumps. And and retention ponds before anything even gets close to the creek, which is great. It's nice working at a place where the developers put a lot of time and energy and money into making sure that the golf course has as little impact as possible. We like to say that one of the greatest compliments we can get is people will say, man, it's like somebody took a golf course in a community and just plunked it down into a national park. So that's part of kind of our overall environmental ethos. As far as being, and this is kind of the new thing, and I'm sure people listening to this are feeling the same thing, but 8 years ago, we were paying people half of what we pay them now. So the days of just close your eyes and work everybody 16 hours a day to try to get ready for opening day, it's not quite as sustainable as it used to be. When we're paying people around here, we're paying people easily north of $20 an hour off the street. We're lucky to have the H-2B program, which hopefully everybody listening can call their senator and congressperson and tell them to keep this going. Hugely beneficial for us to get the same group of guys back every year. They're the backbone of our crew. They're basically family to me now. And so we got to be as efficient as possible. And what it comes down to is lots of planning. And that's where people ask me, what do you do in the winter? Well, I take long naps and drink coffee with the golf pro. But at the same time, I'm an Excel sheet freak, and I have an Excel sheet for everything. Our manpower study I do. I got the dates of where we're going to start doing things. Do those shift? Yes. But if you don't write it down, it's not going to happen. And it really just comes down to planning and then being able to roll with the punches with whatever it throws at you. You can't get upset if it decides to snow or rain or if it turns to 80 degrees. You just got to be ready to go.
So dates is a great segue because around here, Northeast Ohio, April 1st is generally the opening day for golf courses. It's funny, it's April Fool's Day, which means you could get 6 inches of snow and not open for a while more. But how do you know, what are the first signs that Martis Camp is ready for opening, and how do you set your opening day?
Well, the first signs are when we're doing the calendar in September the previous year, and the golf staff looks at me and says, "Hey, what do you think about May 16th?" And by then, I'm thinking about the Red Sox making the playoffs, and I just say, "Okay, sure." Uh, if you don't set a date, you're never going to get there, and there is no perfect for a date. So we usually shoot for that May 16th, 17th, whatever that Friday is. I guess that would be the third week of May. And it comes fast. It comes really fast at you. And some years we're in much better shape than others. But the membership, I can't say enough nice things about our membership. They get it. They've been in the Sierras. Half of our membership's been here since the beginning. They understand that it's good some years. Other years, they know that I'm sticking my head in a bunker and trying to not have anybody talk to me because I'm so embarrassed. And the only year in my recent memory that we actually pushed it back was the year we had, like I keep saying, this 40 feet of snow. We had snow on the golf course easily into May. And that was with us trying to melt it, trying to blow it, trying to push it with a snowcat. And we opened into June. And I always feel really guilty because what's different about where we are in Tahoe compared to the Northeast, I can drive, even in the middle of winter, I drive an hour west towards San Francisco. There's no snow and it's 60 degrees. It's beautiful. And when my wife and I and the kids need to get away from the snow on a Saturday, all the ski traffic's going one way. We're going down to the valley to go hiking or biking someplace. So in the spring, that's when a lot of the courses in Sacramento area, San Francisco, Monterey, they're in some of their like prime conditioning. And then our poor members start to come up here, and that's when we're at kind of our low end. And like I said, they're very gracious in giving us that little bit of time. Usually we try to be where we really want to be by June 1st, second week of June. my goal this year is to, with the slight reprieve we have from snow, I'm still not 1,000% sure how things are going to turn out, but right now they look okay. We'll try to push it a little bit harder, and hopefully the last week of May be where we want to be.
You know, you'd mentioned your Red Sox, and I just still shake my head that Mookie Betts was not paid to stay in Boston with all that money. But hey, I digress. He's closer to you out in Los Angeles now, so good for you guys, I suppose.
Yeah, that was a tough one. I mean, the good news is with Oakland not being able to figure out how to keep the A's there, they're playing in a minor league stadium in Sacramento. So we'll get to go watch the Sox at the beginning of September play in a minor league stadium for the same price as a major league ticket. So excited about that.
All right, something to look forward to. All right, I
Yeah,
like it.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
you'd mentioned sticking your head in a bunker and trying to hide, right? But bunkers is a popular topic right now. How are you restoring and maintaining the sand quality coming out of being buried under 10 feet of snow?
Yeah, I got a lot of bunkers to bury my head in around here. Mr. Fazio did a great job with our bunkering here. It's one of our primary design features. With that, we have basically, if you could imagine, vertical bunker faces with about a say a foot with grass on them, and that's actually more difficult to maintain than the sand itself, as you get these days where the snow will melt off if it's a low snow year and you get some wind and those can desiccate. And we actually we did a big bunker renovation about 5 years ago now, where we actually switched the species of grass on those bunker faces to fescue from Poa patensis, bluegrass. And we seem to have a lot better luck at keeping those alive throughout the winter. Also, our bunkers are pretty big and deep, and we use a sand called Augusta White. And I'll let you imagine how white that is. In the summertime, you literally need sunglasses to stand in it. So to have that be under snow and rain and pine needles and all the above, it can easily not be white anymore. Let's call it that. And it comes from the Los Angeles area. It's very, very expensive. So we do our best in the fall, right before it snows, to really clean them out. Our trees are mostly, well, all pine, are all evergreens, so they're pine trees, big needles. They'll fall in, and you'll get it looks like a gross T if we get like a late season rain, and those tannins from the pine needles can actually change the color of the sand. So we try to get them as clean as possible before the first snow. And then as they start to come out, there's no fancy way to do it. It's 5 gallon buckets. We bought a conveyor belt a few years back where we can have it go directly into our utility vehicles. But the guys do an amazing job. We'll move up to 150 tons of sand in our bunkers. We try to do all that before we open. And then the number one thing that I have not said yet, that's a huge problem for us, and I know in the Rockies they have the same deal, are voles, which to somebody listening back east, it's a little bit like a mole, but not quite. It's actually it's more of a field mouse that now decides to live in the ground, and they can wreak havoc on the golf course. And in the last few years, the control products for them has basically, in our county, there's no chemical control anymore. I started using, on the bunker faces especially, the subsonic sticks that you can buy at your Ace Hardware that emit high pitch frequency, and they're solar, so those seem to work okay. I tried them for the first time this year, and the voles will actually get in the bunker face and push dirt and debris down into our Augusta White bunker sand. And it's kind of the luck of the draw, and the voles run in a cycle. The old timers say they're in a cycle. Because it's good challenge with the bunkers.
Yeah, I'm familiar with voles. I used to work with Tamarack Resort up in Idaho when they first opened their
Yep.
golf course, and I know they went through some issues. But voles were first introduced to me there. So you've been around now for, you say, a couple decades out in the Truckee area. What some of the improvements and innovations that you've introduced to make this transition a little easier?
Yeah, well, I've just been very lucky to have some great mentors. My my current boss, who's been promoted to the GM of the community association here, Scott Bauer. He built the place. He knows this place. If there's anybody that knows it as well as I do, it's Scott. And to have him on property every day, to be able to bounce ideas off of the two of us, um, over a carbonated beverage, we'll come up with the new and great idea. And I think honestly, the thing that I've really learned in my time out here is to just be flexible and to roll with what comes at you. Plan, I always say plan or hope for the best and plan for the worst. And that's kind of my mantra. And just hope everything comes out well, but have a plan for if it doesn't. And there is no silver bullet. That's, I joke with my assistants, I'm reaching that middle age where I'm a curmudgeon on everything from trade shows to new products that come out. And, there's always some great thing they're trying to sell you or tell you to do. I'm really lucky to be partnered with the USGA. We've hosted a few USGA championship events here, so I'm very close to the USGA. And anytime Mr. Brian Whitlark sees something out in the real world, he'll call me and say, "Hey, maybe that'll work for you." So it's not so much a product or even a technique. It's more of a mindset, if that makes sense, that I've really learned from mentors and from fellow superintendents, and just keeping your mind open too. The crew often has the best ideas. They're the guys out there doing it day in, day out, and they'll say, "Hey, what happens if we try tarping this shady area that we always get ice on?" We tried that this year on number 7 green where we've had some issues, and knock on wood, it looks great so far. So just being willing to try new things.